although it also is behind. Back. All right, pull it back. Wait, hold on. Sorry.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, moving on to adjustments to the agenda. We do have an adjustment tonight. Superintendent Robinson.
Yes, we have an adjustment, E2A1, first reading of revised policy.
Can I get a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion or questions? All those in favor? Okay, that's added to the agenda. Next, we move on to public comments. First, I have to read a statement. Members of the public may address the school committee for up to 3 minutes on school and education matters. Public comments shall be directed to the school committee and be brief and not repetitive. The school committee's practice is not to respond or debate with speakers during the public comment period. We are here to listen. The superintendent or her staff will follow up on comments outside of the meeting as appropriate. The committee will not permit profanity or shouting and requests that speakers be civil. Discussion of specific personnel or student matters and complaints concerning specific employees or students will not be allowed, but will be addressed through established policies and procedures. Before speaking, we encourage speakers to review School Committee Policy AC, which provides that the committee does not and will not discriminate nor tolerate discrimination against students or employees on the basis of membership in a protected class. Speakers who share comments contrary to this policy will not be allowed to continue. Before starting, please state your name and place of residence. Do we have anyone here tonight for public comment? All right, moving on to superintendent's proposals and updates. We have no action items this evening, but we do have informational items. We have first a facilities update. Superintendent Robinson.
Director Hale is going to provide an update on facilities and all of the wonderful summer work that's happening.
Thank you. You all should have received the handout that I sent earlier today, and I just want to say thank you to all of our maintenance and custodial staff that have been, this is the busiest time of the year for them, and they've all been working very hard behind the scenes and up front. And if you've gone around any of the schools, especially the high school, that's visibly one of the most ones that are getting some touch-ups. But I'm going to just briefly go through some of the major projects that are going on, and feel free to interrupt and ask any questions, or if you need any clarification on anything. We'll start with Mary Snow School. That project expands and modernizes the existing restroom to provide improved accessibility and better serve students and staff. And that project is being done by the maintenance team. Vine Street School and Fruit Street School both have a window wall replacement. And there's a wing on each one of those schools that are receiving new exterior window wall systems, including replacement of windows, wall assemblies, and doorways. 14th Street School is receiving a new ADA restroom and other renovations, so that will provide a fully ADA compliant student restroom accessible directly from the hallway, a separate single-use staff restroom, and we'll also renovate the existing conference room that will better support the school operations at that school. Bangor High School this is the second phase of the curtain wall that would have happened last year. The first phase on the wing on the right. And this includes the complete replacement of the curtain wall and window system along the administrative wing and reconstruction of the rear exterior wall. And the improvements will enhance the building performance, and then as well as the two entrances, the administrative entrance and lower B wing, I think. That one will have a little bit of a facelift there as well, with new windows and walls, improving efficiency and functionality. The Fairmount School relocation to Bangor High School. That one has been underway. All of the Bangor High School items had been moved either to their new prospective classrooms or in hallways. There's a lot of construction going on to build new classrooms. The custodians are also trying to clean, wax floors, do all that work in between. And then in the meantime, some of the Fairmount stuff is coming over as those rooms are being cleaned, but then the final phase of that move will happen as soon as the construction is done and the rooms are all clean and prepared for that move. And once the curtain wall phase has been done, where there's a lot of machinery and equipment, that's where the playground will be put in. The groundwork will be done and the playground equipment will be placed in there. So that's kind of where that one stands. And then Abraham Lincoln School, we have a new pre-K classroom being built there. That is being built by Bangor School Department Maintenance as well. And this classroom supports the early childhood special education, ECSE. You'll probably hear that a lot coming this next year. And it fulfills the state program requirements. And then Vine Street School has two of the wings of Vine Street flooring replacement. Major hallways have been converted from carpet to durable tile flooring. It'll improve the long-term maintenance and durability and cleanliness of the school. Aside from that, the maintenance department and custodial teams are working on electrical work and, waxing floors, getting these schools ready for the opening of school in September in a short amount of time. So they're busy. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions for Director Hale? Yep, please.
Thank you. Thank you for that update, Director Hale. You can be doctor tonight. Yeah. So I have some questions about the actual what's happening at Fairmount right now, and also some questions about that move. I also have questions about ECSE. I assume those would go to you rather than.
Or our new director of
Oh,
pupil
yeah.
services.
Oh, welcome,
Jeannie McAlpin,
Jeannie.
who
Good to
is
see you.
quickly becoming the expert on all
Yes,
things
great.
ESC.
I am so sorry. You were like the exact angle of that chair, and I apologize. Yes, it makes perfect sense. My question about that is for the obviously the expansion of ECSE and including the 3 to 5 year olds. Will all of those students that are getting services in that bracket be at Abe? Is that why there's a new pre-K building or pre-K room being made, or is it that depending on the numbers, students will shift and be at their neighborhood school?
So it's a little bit of both, yes.
Okay.
So if students are accessing like speech services, they'll be at their neighborhood school. They've always been at their neighborhood schools for those services. Right now we have around 39 students that we know that have some kind of services. Depending on those services, we're going in and doing observations, talking to the teachers where they are currently, and then making those decisions if we're going to offer them a position in Bangor, or if we're going to let them stay at like an out-of-district placement. Like a Kids Piece in Orono is one that we access. Heartleaf is another one as well.
Sure. And so is it safe to say that as we sort of look at the numbers and the individuals that will be receiving services, it's not so much that those 3 to 5 year olds are coming into this classroom and being serviced here. It's how are we meeting them where they're at to provide those services?
Exactly. And with this classroom, within ABE, we'll be able to offer potentially up to 11 students to come into that program,
That's wonderful. Great.
with the idea that hopefully, potentially, we'll be able to add another classroom.
Great. And I'm so sorry. I feel like I should remember this. Did we hire someone that would like be?
Yes, we have
overseeing that?
we have an assistant director.
That's right.
um,
That's right.
We're also working in coordination in the pupil services office.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And has hit the ground running.
Yep. So we're in the process of interviewing for the special education teacher and a text to work within that classroom as well.
That's great news. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for that update. I think I'll save my other questions for I know you have a Fairmount reorganization piece of your update, so I'll wait for that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Director Hale or Superintendent Robinson? I just have a quick one. It's really more just a request. I'm wondering, I'm looking at the schedule and I see our last meeting before the school year begins is August 12th. I'm wondering if it might be valuable to come to that meeting with just more information about the facilities, particularly the Fairmount and Bangor High School facilities. And maybe it could even be something like a short presentation with visuals about some of the different things that have happened. I'm thinking about recess and where the library will be, all the different things that are being considered, and just that, I think that type of visual for the community might be valuable.
Okay. I'll let Dr. Robinson expand on that a little bit more, but we do plan on presenting the information on the existing Fairmount School as well that night. So I'll let
Mhm.
you
Yep.
answer the rest of that part about updating on the progress of the relocation.
Absolutely. And we've been giving those regular updates, working in coordination with Director Finney to make sure everyone's informed throughout the summer. So as different components are completed, we can certainly provide those visuals either on the website or through a presentation.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Any other questions? All right. Moving on to superintendent's update, Superintendent Robinson.
Thank you. So we were awarded the 21st Century grants. The Boys and Girls Club, who is going to be working in coordination with JFDS. So that's exciting. And then Mary Snow and Abe Lincoln also were awarded the grants. So we're really excited to be able to expand our programming to those locations. In partnership with Maine Audubon, grades 1 and 3 will be implementing new science programming in the fall, and that's going to include weekly outdoor nature experiences as well as hands-on interactive activities. We're really excited to be able to incorporate more of that hands-on learning in the younger grades, and especially connecting it to science, where it makes a lot of good sense. Administrators are working diligently to prepare for the upcoming school year. We have a number of new year-round staff who have really come in and hit the ground running, so we're pleased with that. In terms of the Fairmount reorganization, we talked a little bit about the construction at the high school. It is continues to be on schedule. We are moving forward with Carpenter Associates to get the intricate details about what's needed for Fairmount in terms of potential repair, so that we have all of the information needed, and that will be presented. Carpenter and Associates will be here at our August meeting, so we'll have the details around that, and they're working again in coordination with our contractor. In terms of specifics around what's happening within the high school and the coordination of various aspects of the school within the school model. We are looking at right now, band and orchestra will have access to the high school's auditorium in the morning. So that's wonderful. What a wonderful experience for them. Music and art will be provided in the classrooms at Fairmount. We are working also on the coordination and the procedures that are going to support that early morning arriving to Bangor High School, having band and orchestra, and then being coordination back to the Fairmount area. So that's being worked on right now, just making sure that we have those details, those day-to-day details finalized. So that's all underway. In terms of, I know there were questions that came and I'm trying to address some of those questions. We do not have, there's an intentional no dividers being used around the cafeteria idea, and that is really designed to allow for greater flexibility in how that space is utilized. And knowing we have other schools such as Abe Lincoln where, you know, there's, it works without necessarily having all of the walls every single, you know, everywhere. Fairmount will continue to have 4 lunch periods. Half of the grade level will eat, the other half goes out to recess. And, you know, again, really making sure that we're maintaining consistency with the way that Fairmount functioned. And that will, you know, obviously support the students in those similar routines. There is a door that has been installed to provide students with direct access to from the cafeteria area to the playground. So that will support efficiency there. The library space is going to be located in the common hallway area. We are constructing a wall to create kind of a U-shaped area there to keep that a dedicated space when students are accessing the library. I know we had gone back and forth in terms of what space would be needed at the high school. And there was a question about the very end of the wing and why those spaces were being maintained for the high school. That's really coming down to that balance. Obviously, this has been a lot of coordination and many, I think it's 16 or 18 teachers at the high school have been displaced. So in order to not make that 20, you know, and not have to redistribute space and move those other offices, it was determined that Fairmount could function within the space that was allocated to be able to continue to provide the services that we need for the students. And I think Director Hale did mention the playgrounds coming in after the curtain wall. And then again, the full analysis of the building that is being conducted. And I know there were some questions as to why work on the roof hadn't started. Just to reiterate, this is a large process that's going to require us to really have the details of what's necessary to safely re-inhabit Fairmount. And that's what we hope to gather at the August meeting. And then kind of in tandem with our strategic planning process, which I'll get into next. But we will have a facilities plan. The aim of that strategic plan is to have the facilities plan merged into it as one of the kind of big bucket items in our strategic plan so that, you know, for the next 3 to 5 years, things are mapped out. And what does that look like? You know, so we have a lot of important decisions to make over the next several months. And the idea is to have as much specific information as possible so that we can make the most informed decision that we can moving forward. Any other questions on the Fairmount?
Where will Fairmount students do PE at the high school?
I believe PE in the gym. Yeah, that's been worked out. So the students will go to the gym.
Yeah, Member Bryan. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that update and for addressing those questions. Some of the questions that I have are more like, if I say this as I understand it, can you confirm that that's true?
Sure.
So this idea that we've always known that Fairmount is going to need construction, obviously, and that is why we have removed the students for this year. The plan, if I'm understanding it correctly, has always been that this month is when we're working with Carpenter and Associates, getting all the numbers, looking at it. And then in August, we will vote on whether or not, like how that's going to look moving forward for those decisions to be made and what we're working with them on. It's not that, and that has always been the plan, correct? It's not that this summer we are taking longer to figure out what that is.
No,
be.
that-
This is the timeline that it's always been. So if I'm thinking back to that 12 to 18-month window, working with Carpenter and Associates now isn't taking June and July and tacking that on to the end. That was always
No,
part of
no,
it.
this was always part of this. The real, I guess, firm timeline in terms of this, and again, kind of merging this with our strategic planning process, is that in November, bids have to go out for summer work. So that's kind of our hard deadline. We're trying to get information for August, but then also knowing that we are working on our strategic plan, we do have a little bit of leeway in terms of, because we do want to involve and have more listening sessions. So I'll get into that with our strategic plan and our starboard leadership. So we want to gather some additional feedback in terms of facilities. So there won't necessarily be a vote in August, but we do have to have a determination of how we are planning on moving forward, I would say at the latest November.
Okay. I think that, and maybe I'm just projecting, but I think that the expectation is like, everybody's out, we're ripping the roof off today. And
That's
by
not, that's never been,
Yeah.
no, that's never been the plan, because we don't have all the details.
Okay.
So of course, this is a huge undertaking and we need to have all of the information and there needs to be an informed decision to be able to make, the decision that's best for the school department. And, that was part of, the strategic planning process, but now we're layering in more listening sessions to gather additional feedback specifically on facilities so that we can have more information, understand more of where the community stands and understand from the school committee standpoint, what is in the best interest of the school department and community for the schools moving forward, putting all the factors into place, the cost, enrollment, all of those things.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Because I
Absolutely.
think that there was this, and I just basically wanted to say that out loud because I
Yeah,
do think that
no.
there was this expectation.
No.
And knowing that, like, well, what's happening, like, this is going to make it even longer on the back end. And that was
No,
that
it's
was
not
never
making
going
it
to be
longer
the
on the back.
Thank you.
Mhm.
My other question is, can you confirm, and again, I think I know the answers to all of these things. I'm just saying these so that we can have confirmation out loud. The 2 classrooms at the end of the hallway that are not going to be used for the Fairmount students, that's not 2 less classrooms for Fairmount that we're going to have to work out
No.
with teachers. There's still, it all fits with those 2
Correct.
classrooms at the very
Mhm.
end as well. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for that. And then I know this goes without saying, but any sort of presentation, right, that is going out to families and including them in preparing for a year at the high school. Again, I know that you've all thought of this, but also doing that for the high school families as well, just to make sure that those students also know if we're not going to be accessing these classes that I have always known to be in this wing. Where am I going now? Where can I go? Where can't I go? What are the I guess boundaries
Mhm.
now that we're sharing this space with the Fairmount students?
Absolutely. Yep. We'll make sure that that's all being discussed right now. And we want to make sure that that is going to be part of the parent communication and at the high school, especially making sure the students are informed so that they know what to expect.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Just one more question. I'm so sorry. Do you have a timeline of when like the classroom assignments will be shared with families in terms of these are, this is, I think 4th grade has maybe received it. It's the 5th grade. Is there maybe I'm wrong. Is there a timeline for when
Is
those?
there a timeline?
Okay.
The end of July.
Sure. Great. Thank you. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Member Speak?
Yeah, I just have 2 points that I want to piggyback off of what Member Brighton had said, and so much of our communication has been about the Fairmount reorganization. I think it's important to shape this also through the lens of the Bangor High School reorganization and thinking of those families and students and teachers as well. And so Superintendent Robinson, you had mentioned the tough decisions that we need to make in the coming months and laid out, answered a number of my questions in your presentation as far as when we'll make these decisions, when we'll get estimates in August, and when we'll have until November to answer those big questions. And so I want to put a spotlight on what I see as that essential question of funding our current buildings or consolidating our campuses. That's my big essential question. Would you agree?
I would definitely agree with that. Considering, that, like I said, we need to gather the information on what it will take, not only just to get back in the building, but then the next coming years, because we're not looking, the initial phase to repair Fairmount would allow for students and staff to safely return. But then there'll be another phase and continued work that would need to be added. So that's going to be shared. And then looking at, again, understanding that our enrollment, what are those enrollment projections and taking that into consideration. But yes, that for the longer term strategic plan, 3 to 5 years out, what we don't want to do is to be caught, in a similar situation where, we need to make those decisions now. And if the plan is to invest, then we need to set a plan to invest. And if the plan is to consolidate, then we need to have a plan in the next 3 to 5 years that's going to break it down, really. And that's the aim of this strategic plan, is not to say by 2029 we will have X, Y, and Z. It's going to be a year by year, so that it's really going to incorporate the action strategies that are going to lead to the result that we desire.
Yeah, exactly. And I would like to think about that critical question of which direction we go can be framed in a positive way both ways, right? It
Absolutely.
can be really from our strategic planning, we win this way or we win this way. And I think that's an important thing to think about and frame it as, because we've heard the community in what may be lost, and I think it's easy to get wrapped up into that, but I think it's important to think about it in how do we win this way and how do we win this way.
Yeah, and I think it does come down to what's in the best interest of the students, of course, first and foremost, and then thinking about our community.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I just have a quick one, and it's related, or it's along the lines of the Carpenter and Associates presentation. Am I understanding correctly that during that presentation, they'll communicate to us the costs of this phase one? If we were to make the Fairmount School inhabitable for students, here are the things that would have to happen, the cost, and then also the time frame. Is that information we can expect from
Yes.
August?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. Any other questions on this item before Superintendent Robinson continues? Superintendent Robinson?
Okay, so moving along to our strategic planning process, just an update that we have. Our strategic planning process is now being facilitated by Mary Budd from Starboard Leadership. We have wrapped up our partnership with Jennifer Chase and Kathy, and we under that advisement, we've had a couple of meetings with Mary, and we have formed a planning committee that is going to support the process along the way. There'll be a meeting next week, and that planning committee includes staff representation, community and parent representation, as well as committee representation. So that there will be a meeting next week. And then there's also, Mary is also going to facilitate a school committee training in August to ensure that everyone is on the same page in terms of, what does the strategic planning process look like from the school committee's lens? And, what is the expectation along the way for committee members? Let me just see if there's other. Yep, I think that's it in the strategic plan. I think I mentioned also the aim is to, maybe I didn't, the aim is to have the strategic plan conducted and completed by late fall. So, I know there was another question about why not 10 years anymore. And it's really become, I think, mostly since COVID and at least the past few years, that while a 10-year plan used to be more commonplace, the direction that folks are recommending is a more succinct plan that can be revised and refined along the way. So 3 to 5 years is much more of a reasonable plan given the rapid changes in our society today. And obviously, we want to ensure that we are always maintaining relevance to what's happening and keeping abreast of any new updates that need to be incorporated to ensure, the highest level of student success. So I did specifically ask Star Board leadership because that, I think, is one of the most critical components of a strategic plan. Oftentimes, we do a lot of discussing about what we should be doing, and then months and months, and oftentimes I've seen it stretch into 2 years. And that really isn't helpful for anyone involved. The idea is to, have an efficient and thorough process that incorporates our stakeholders, pulls information together, and puts it in a plan that can then be worked through the school department. And that is our goal. So I did confirm, and she agreed by the late fall, we should have a plan. And we didn't determine the 3 to 5 year, whether it's 3 or 5 yet. I'd like that to be part of our planning process with the committee that's formed, the strategic planning committee.
I think we have questions on this one.
Sure.
Okay. Member Bryden?
Thank you very much. I just wanted to clarify quickly. I know that you said the facilities committee will work in tandem with the strategic plan, or is it that the idea that of these individuals involved in the strategic plan, they will be like a subcommittee on facilities? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, facilities are going to be layered right into this process. So essentially, we have, our construction experts through Carpenter Associates. So, they are offering their input. We'll have that information, and then any other information that we need along the way will be part of the strategic planning committee. And then that will be layered into the strategic plan. So it will be determined, and through the listening sessions as well. So we're going to have a lot of feedback. So essentially what a strategic plan would look like that I've talked with and my experience with strategic plans is there are large bucket items. Like there might be, there's facilities is one of those items that we are ensuring we have a set plan for. Perhaps there's something around, safety and well-being, just to pull from our 10-year plan. Excellence in teaching and learning, hiring and recruiting high quality staff. So those are kind of those large bucket items. And then underneath each of those, there are the action strategies that are going to get us to whatever goals have been determined. So facilities is going to be one of those key components. In terms of any process, sometimes, as we're doing strategic planning in particular, there isn't really a need to have a separate committee for every single thing because this is going to be part of the whole. And it's important that we have, kind of that cohesion with the planning committee and not have too many disjointed separate committees working kind of, potentially creating some additional challenges that we don't
Yes,
need.
yeah. Thank you for clarifying that. I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't sort of these silos already existed in the
No.
process. So I appreciate that. So then the listening sessions will obviously include conversations about facilities.
Specifically,
recommendations.
yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
I just want to make sure that that is
Yes,
clear. Thank you very much.
absolutely.
Member Cook?
When Jennifer was here at the last meeting, it sounded like you mentioned that we're working with Maine Audubon and they're going to do more hands-on learning. I'm wondering, as we work on the strategic plan, if it would be possible to get a better understanding of how we're integrating the guiding principles into our curriculum here and how those are assessed so that we can get an understanding of how we could have more hands-on experiences that are likely connected to the guiding principles.
Absolutely. And I've talked with Dr. Harris Medberg, and we are planning on regular curriculum updates. And the guiding principles are infused in the curriculum, so we can add some more specifics around that.
I have a question. Something I'd like a a deeper understanding of, and if not tonight, perhaps at a future meeting is in August, would be the relationship between this new strategic plan and our existing strategic plan, right? We currently have a 10-year plan, a 2020 to 2030 plan. And I'm just wondering, I'd like to have a deeper understanding of, will this strategic plan that we're working on now, will it be supplemental to our current plan? Will it replace our current plan? You know, how will it interface with what already exists? I'd be interested to hear more about.
Absolutely. So when I was first hired, one of the key components that was expressed to me was a desire to revise and refine the 10-year plan, and ensure that continues to be relevant, and again, making it a little bit more action-oriented, specific step by step. So the 10-year plan has guided the school department so far. I believe it's potentially year 6 of that. So it's really it'll be an interwoven process and will result in a new plan that weaves in the components of the 10-year plan that continue to be relevant and are important for student success, while also adding in those additional pieces that are going to take us to, the future that that is agreed upon and is desired.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions on this item? Member Speed?
Yeah, I want to thank you for answering again a lot of my questions. That was wonderful to hear because it's helpful to, as a first year member on the committee, to zoom out and think about the 10-year plan and seeing that is retired in 3 years, but we're on a 3-year strategic plan that we're working on right now. And thank you for the questions and clarifications on that. The only note that I had here was I really appreciated the qualitative research that we were able to have presented to us at our last meeting with the interview sound bites that was presented by the USM team. And I just wanted to see if you could clarify that a little bit more. Project 2050, how does that weave into what we're doing?
Sure. This was always a component of the strategic plan for the Bangor School Department. It just so happened that there was also this Project 2050 that allowed Bangor to be heard at that state level. So being able to be a statewide collaborative partner in this project was something that we agreed upon at the beginning of this process, knowing that the data that was collected is specific to our community. And the data that was shared at the last meeting was specific to our community. And that report, the report that has been shared, I'm not sure if I shared that with everyone yet. No, I don't think so. I did get the report. I did get a 27-page report that will be shared from the USM team that kind of summarizes all of that data. I know we just heard the snippets, so I've looked through it. It has some really important information, some key themes that will be considered, and this will carry through. So it's been shared with Star Board leadership so that she has an understanding of what's happened so far and can take that work, that really hard work, and it included over 130 listening sessions, or 130 people. Yeah, 130 people who really took their time. I mean, 60 to 90 minutes. We don't want that lost. It's really important. People shared some really honest feedback. And I know sometimes, I'll just say it, sometimes honest feedback is hard to hear. But I think in our strategic planning process, if we want to maintain our status as focused on excellence, we need to hear the difficult feedback, and then we need to address it, and we need to decide, how are we going to move forward? If we continue to ignore not continue, that's the wrong word. If we were to ignore important feedback, that isn't going to help us to better serve our community and our students and families. So, of course, there's always a process, and we need to work through that process in terms of prioritization of what is needed. Sometimes things that have been shared are just things that are actually already happening. People just aren't aware of it. So I think a lot of that came through when I read the initial report. So I think it's just kind of continuing with that transparency and really beginning or continuing to highlight all of the great work that's happening across the Bangor School Department. Because, I mean, I can attest to that now, being here, coming into my third year, that I have been continually impressed with, you know, the teacher creativity, administrators' dedication and support to their teams and families. You know, so that's the goal, right? To continue that, prepare ourselves, because not everyone is going to be happy with everything, but hearing that feedback can really help us to put ourselves in a really good position for the future.
Cool. Thank you.
Any other questions on this item? Superintendent Robinson?
All right, moving on to the 501c3 update, the Bangor School Foundation. See, so the application has been submitted to Drummond and Woodsum for processing. The initial application does require a president, secretary, and treasurer. So upon the recommendation of the attorney, myself, Dr. Harris Medberg, and Director Hale have been listed as those initial members. That's only for application purposes. And then once the final determination is received from the IRS, we will be able to adopt bylaws and then bring in some members who are going to actually serve on that board. So they would be voted in following those bylaws.
Any questions on this item? Foundation?
I just want to add another clarifying piece to this, is that some people get confused with how the foundation will interface within the school department. So this Bangor School Foundation is going to be, it's an independent 501 nonprofit organization, and that's established under the authorization of the Bangor School Committee. It is structurally distinct. The foundation is, but it also is going to operate in close alignment and focused in on with a strategic partnership with the Bangor School Department. So it's connected, but they're two separate entities. And there will be a separate board of directors that will be determined. And the aim for that, the primary mission is going to be to solicit philanthropic, sorry, I always miss that word out, philanthropic support, alumni contributions, and it does open us up, as I've mentioned before, it opens up the opportunity for grants that are available to 501c3s that are not public schools. So this will open an additional funding source, and the aim is to remove barriers to access, pilot educator innovation, and enhance learning environments so that every student can thrive. So those are some important components. It is exciting, and as I know I've discussed before, but in my previous role, was able to support the formation of a 501c3, and it still functions today. It serves as a really amazing community resource and has offered lots of things to the community. So I anticipate the same can happen here.
Vice Chair Bryden.
Thank you very much. I'm obviously thrilled with this update because I think that a foundation that can identify additional funding resources for our schools, for our administrators and teachers, and for our families is just going to be one more opportunity to really remove those barriers to access and address some of the issues that we've heard from families before that we weren't able to address without, you know, more diverse opportunities for funding. So I think that this is an awesome opportunity, not only to help support the schools, but also to get more folks involved in being a really active member in identifying what we can do as a school department when we have more resources available to us. I'm very excited about the next steps for identifying who those folks might be. I'm not familiar with what, and perhaps, I don't know if Drummond Woodsum gave you an update, but do they have an idea of how long the application would take so that we could maybe then think about how we're going to market this, how we're going to share these opportunities, how we're going to get folks excited to understand what the process of getting involved is and participating as a selected board member for identifying where those funds can go?
There wasn't a specific timeline. I can check in and see if I can gather that. Typically, if I recall, it was approximately, I think it might have been around 6 months. I honestly can't remember. So it really depends on the IRS, but I can gather some further I can gather further information and really clarify because it's possible that we can get started even before the IRS. So I'll clarify that. And then in terms of determining who's involved, I know that there had been a discussion around a potential application process similar to what the city council has done for some of the advisory committees that they have brought people into. So we're looking into that. And then the other piece that I want to clarify is that this foundation is not designed to supplement the regular school budget. It is to provide additional opportunities beyond it. So it's not going to, take the place of any of education, that's already in the budget.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that once it is finalized and we have those ideas, just being able to put something more formal together, not only that we can share with individuals that happen to watch these meetings or come to these meetings, but also something that we can share on social media, really make available so that nobody's thinking, wow, I missed that opportunity to get involved. I didn't know it was happening.
Right.
Just more opportunities to really cast a wide net for what participation might look like
Mhm.
when we're ready.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Member Cook?
So have other districts who have these 501c3s, do they have policies that prevent cities or municipalities from slashing, hundreds of thousands of dollars from the budget and then the 501c3 picking up the slack? Because I don't want to kind of start that. I don't want that to be an option.
Yeah, I don't think they're, I think the main piece with that is the mission. So the mission of the foundation is not to, hire staff that is going to work in the Bangor School Department. It's not, to support programming that is part of the EPS funding formula through the state. So I think the mission itself does that designation, and that's why it's really important when that mission is determined, that the board of directors is really focused in on keeping those guardrails and maintaining integrity to the mission. It can't waver from that, or there is a potential that something could go awry. So it is very important to follow that, and then looking in with the bylaws. But I haven't heard of any school department or district having to have separate policies around that.
Member Speed?
I just wanted to touch upon the my thoughts on staffing for this. Obviously, we'll have a board, but I would imagine we would have the 501c3 would have staff. And so how do you envision, or have you seen examples where there's collaboration, maybe a little bit of overlap, but what I'm thinking about a large donor, that may give a huge gift, which would be more than welcome. It may also require some, attention, great attention. And so how do we make sure that 501c3 has the staff to support those donors, and to lean on our staff, but not necessarily take our staff and put them in that?
Right. There are ex officio members who would include essentially myself, Director Hale, Dr. Harris Smedberg, just to be able to advise and coordinate with the 501c3. In terms of hiring staff, it depends again, but let's just follow the example you shared. There's a huge donation. I would say the board's first order of business at that point is to determine if they're going to hire an executive director. So that would be your first position. And depending on how rapidly funding is secured and being able to, I guess, have at least somewhat of confirmation of sorts, or feeling strong that that will be sustained. So, it's a lot of strategic planning because, if you have a huge initial donation, but then it never follows, and you have to watch the funding. So I would never recommend hiring a lot of staff initially. You're really going to have some working board members to start. And that's how it started at the work up north. So there was there was an executive director, which I served as while being superintendent part-time. But in this particular school department, that's really not going to be feasible. So we're not going to be able to have staff that work, a significant amount of time on the 501c3, really just offering that advice. So those members, those initial board members, anyone who is thinking about it or, potentially interested in applying, that will be a position of kind of working to get this off the ground, kind of a grassroots effort. And that can or it may or may not come with compensation. It really depends on how the structure is set up. But the executive director is the first position that a nonprofit would typically hire and then go from there.
Yeah, I can imagine that that day will happen someday, and we'd love to
Absolutely.
promote it, right? But we'd also like to make sure that our communications team isn't pulled completely away from the job they're already doing,
Absolutely.
to cover that. Yep.
Right.
Want to continue?
Other items is just that we continue to interview, hire, and onboard as for our 26-27 school year. In terms of region and state, we are continuing with our year-end reporting, title application. The main DOE Educator Summit is happening. It's called Elevated, July 29th through I think that's the 31st, not the 21st. And then the DOE is offering some school finance regional trainings. So many of our new staff are being able to participate in those to get up to speed in terms of budgeting.
Any final questions on the superintendent's report? Great. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Moving on to report of reassignments for school year 26-27, Superintendent Robinson.
I'm reporting the following reassignments for the 26-27 school year. Jeanette Quirk from principal at Fairmount School to principal at 14th Street School. Darrell Loring from assistant principal at James F. Dowdy School to interim principal at Fairmount School. Carissa Lamond from grade 3 teacher at Vine Street School to grade 2 teacher at Vine Street School. Danielle Schneider from .8 Title I teacher at Vine Street School to Title I teacher at .85 Vine and .15 private schools. Shayna Curtis from literacy coach at .6 Vine Street School and .4 14th Street School to literacy coach at Vine Street School. Angela Lee from Title I teacher at Down East School to Title I teacher at .4 Down East School and .6 at Abraham Lincoln School. Katrina Rutherford from literacy coach at .9 Down East and .1 Bangor Regional to literacy coach at Down East School. Megan Shaw from literacy coach at .4 Fruit Street School, .4 Abraham Lincoln School, and .2 Mary Snow School to literacy coach at .45 Fruit Street School, .45 Abraham Lincoln School, and .1 at Bangor Regional Program. Katie Guernsey from school nurse at .5 Bangor Regional Program and .5 14th and Vine to school nurse at .5 Bangor Regional Program and .5 the district.
Thank you. Any questions on that item? Member Cook.
Am I interpreting this correctly that there will not be a literacy coach at 14th Street School anymore, or is there an additional literacy coach at 14th Street School?
That's a great question. Dr. Harris Medberg is not here today. I know what we've done some reconfiguring due to the title funding. And there's a rank and distribution that has to occur to align everything and make sure the funds are being distributed in the way that the state requires. So I will have to get clarification on that.
Any other questions on this item? All right. Moving on to business action items. For action items, we have minutes, the regular meeting of June 24, 2026. Superintendent Robinson.
I'm recommending approval of the draft minutes of June 24, 2026, regular school committee meeting.
I have a motion.
So moved. Second.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
4-0, thank you.
All right, moving on to personnel. First, we have teacher nominations, new teachers for 26-27 school year. Superintendent Robinson.
I'm recommending the following teacher nominations for the 26-27 school year with a one-year probationary contract. And I'm going to ask our principals to come up and say a few words about each of our candidates. Gianna Silly, grade 5 teacher, 2-year position at Mary Snow School.
Good evening. So Gianna has a bachelor's degree from UMaine in elementary education. And she did all of her student teaching at Old Town Elementary School, as well as at the same time doing an ed tech position in the resource room. So lots of experience.
Thank you. Jesse Curtis, school counselor at Abraham Lincoln School. I do believe that Principal Ireland, oh, sorry, I didn't see you back there. I was going to say that. Thank you, Principal Ireland. Come right up.
Counselor for RSU 68, working with pre-K to 4 students. She worked there for 8 years. And before that, she spent 8 years with Woodford's as a BHP and also worked with Brewer Community School as a substitute school counselor. We're excited to have Jessie join our team and know that her experience, compassion, and dedication to supporting students, families, and staff will make a positive impact on our school community.
Thank you. Jennifer Emrich, and she's coming into Vine and 14th Street as an art teacher. Thank you. Fairmount, thank you.
Hi. So Jennifer will be coming in part-time at 14th Street and at Fairmount. It's my pleasure to introduce her. We are incredibly excited to welcome her to the Bangor School Department, and we feel that she'll be a wonderful addition to both communities. She brings a wealth of experience as a visual arts teacher, having taught students from pre-kindergarten to adulthood in a variety of settings. She's taught a wide range of artistic disciplines, including but not limited to drawing, painting, ceramics, mixed media, and fiber arts, and is passionate about helping students discover their own creative voices. She truly believes, like the many colors, that you would see in an artwork, from bold blues to vibrant reds to pastels like peach, that each student brings unique strengths. She holds a master's of arts in teaching from the Maine College of Art, as well as a master's in fine arts from the School of Visual Arts in New York City. And she brings a strong background of differentiating instruction, social emotional learning, and community engagement to our schools. What stood out most during this hiring process were the words used by those who knew Jennifer best. One former principal described her as a natural educator and shared that she is the best art teacher she has worked with at helping all children see themselves as artists. So we all welcome her to both communities. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Susan Hoxie as an instructional coach, and Principal Fournier will say a few words.
Good evening. I believe, but Dr. Harris Medberg will correct me, she's going to be at 14th Street.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. I know. I can be corrected by Dr. Harris Medberg. Very happy to introduce Susan. Came highly recommended, strong literacy background, incredible leadership skills. So she's going to fit right in to be a great coach. She's very excited, and we are very thrilled to have another coach in the Bangor School Department. So
Thank you. And Kathleen Young, English teacher at Bangor High School.
Well, she went by Katie, by everybody that I talked to, digging into her past. We draw a lot of really good applicants, especially for English. It's a former English teacher. I take interest in the conversations we have with people. Katie emerged immediately, announced her quality just in how we interacted. It was a tale of impact in all the places and all the folks I talked to, most recently at Booth Bay Elementary as a reading interventionist. 8 years prior to that, RSU one in Bath, plowing some ground in the tech center program, teaching 11th and 12th graders and doing a lot of readiness skills. Prior to that at Lewiston for 8 years, 6th grade ELA, and started a career in Massachusetts. Educated in New York, as the great ones do, made their way first Massachusetts into Maine, and is here. We're lucky to have her and thrilled to bring her aboard as the English teacher at Bangor High School.
Great. Thank you very much.
All right. Can we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
4-0. Thank you.
And welcome.
Welcome, everyone.
All right, moving on to extra duty assignments, Superintendent Robinson.
I'm recommending the following extra duty assignments for the 26-27 school year. Katrina Rutherford, Governance Committee for the district. Natisha Lankhorst, .5, Science Department Head at Bangor High School. Carrie White, .5, Science Department Head, Bangor High School. Christopher Packard, STEM Research Coordinator, Bangor High School. Stuart Greenier, Special Ed Department Head at Bangor High School.
Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
4-0. Thank you.
All right, we're moving on to donations. Member Cook, please share donations.
To Fruit Street School from Hannaford, a cash donation to support students having a total dollar value of $147.
You have one more?
And to the Special Education Department from RSU 12, a fully electric bariatric 48-inch bed having a total dollar value of $800.
Can I have a motion?
With gratitude, I move to accept.
I'll second. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
4-0. Thank you.
All right, moving now to introduction items. We have a first reading of a revised policy GCEA, Substitute Compensation Guide, Superintendent Robinson.
I'm recommending approval of the first reading of revised policy GCEA, Substitute Compensation Guide.
I have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or discussion on this item? All those in favor?
4-0. Thank you.
All right, now we're moving to committee updates. Do we have any representative reports this evening? Member Cook.
So from United Technology Center, it's a very exciting time of year because they're doing all sorts of building updates, including a brand new renovated medical area. I think some of those bariatric beds we were just talking about were in that space. And so we got a tour and that was wonderful. Additionally, enrollment for next year is at 838, which is up 62 from last year. They've added some new staffing and increased program size so that more students are able to attend. And for Bangor, we are up 2 students at UTC from last year at 130. 18 of whom were recommended for the Bridge program, which is like a dual enrollment program where they receive college credits. And then for our 9th and 10th graders who are in the exploratory program, they built birdhouses and ended their first year showing a lot of growth, and hopefully they continue and enroll in programs related to the projects that most interested them.
Any questions for Member Cook? All right, thank you. Any other representative reports tonight? All right. We have no other reports, so moving to questions and comments from the committee. Do we have any questions or comments from the committee? Member Cook.
I just wanted to invite everyone watching online and in the audience to drive by 14th Street School because there is some beautiful landscaping that was done and it looks fantastic. It was a nice little glow up for 14th Street School.
Any other questions or comments from committee members tonight? Member Speed?
Yeah, I just wanted to reflect on something, some lessons that probably we've learned over the last month and a half, and I can't help but look at Member Cook's fingernail polish here in her support for the Norwegian World Cup team. And I think that we've learned a lot from watching the World Cup and watching the teams and the countries come together. But I think also about some of the countries that really put an emphasis on youth sports. Some countries put emphasis on youth sports where the focus is winning at a very young age and just about winning. And then there's countries that put an emphasis on having fun as long as possible and getting as many players on the field and getting as much playing time as possible. So I think there's a lot to learn from that. And I think that we can take that lesson with us for the Bangor School Department as well, and how we approach the classroom, how we approach the arts, how we approach sports, how we approach band. So thank you, Member Cook, for inspiring me to make that comment. And I was cheering for Norway as well, by the way, because the star looks just like my son. I just can't help it. So that was a wonderful experience for us.
Thank you, Member Speed. Any other questions or comments? All right. We're going to move to information items, important dates. Wednesday, July 22nd, 2026, there's a planning committee meeting at 1 p.m. Starboard Leadership Office, 84 Harlow Street, 4th floor. Monday, August 3rd, 2026, school committee training at 5 p.m. Starboard Leadership Office, 84 Harlow Street, 4th floor. Wednesday, August 12, 2026, regular meeting of the school committee, 7 p.m. here in council chambers. Wednesday, August 26, 2026, beginning of the year ceremony at 8 a.m. at Peaks Auditorium, Bangor High School. Tuesday, September 1st, 2026 will be the first day of school. Thursday, September 10, 2026 will be a regular meeting of the school committee, 7 p.m. here in chambers. And Wednesday, September 23rd, 2026, regular meeting of the school committee, 7 p.m. here in the chambers. I have a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? We are
Oro,
adjourned.
thank you.